Welcome back to our next segment. We were talking about, your casting process and how fun it is to let other actors play around with the characters you've written and see what they can develop from there. As an actor, I want to ask you now, what do you look for in a director?
That's a great question. As an actor, I would like to work with a director that is open and receptive to discussing, if I have questions, they are happy to answer, and that they are collaborative. Like I will, great. If they've chosen me for the project, then they liked what I brought to the table. So they liked the perspective that I had, but they're also willing and happy to tell me their feeling about, I really enjoyed this part, but could you play this section like more ferocious than like, what you were playing? Can you bring it up a notch, or can you take it down a notch, or, can you make sure that like I like to take direction? So someone that's kind and courteous. I like working with directors that are or have had some training as an actor too, because then they will understand like how to help navigate this emotional dance that we're doing. But yeah, collaborative, friendly, like a lot of my team members. Like that's what I would like for the most. Director that knows what they'd like, is fair, honest, respectful, courteous, timely, direct is fine. You just be kind about it. Direct me, feel free. So if it's a good story and I'm excited about it, absolutely, I want to bring to light the vision that you have in mind for this
get
character.
their input and transform it.
Yeah.
Has there been a role that's got you really, really devoted into the character? How do you prepare for these roles? You've had so much training. What's your method of getting into the character? So you've just been casted for a role. What do you do first?
So like if an audition comes in, then I'm going to be doing a character analysis and a breakdown on who they are, what their motivations are, what their background is, who the characters are, their relationships to the people in the scene, that type, and navigate like what their motivations, what's their purpose. But okay, once we figure this out, we've done all the research, figured out what all the beats are, the notes that you want to be playing emotionally during this scene. I memorize my lines. After I've memorized my lines and we're ready to go, right? Let's perform, let's go. Typically we do like a table read or a run through. And then when we do that, or we're rehearsing, the director or the director will tell you like, hey, I liked how that was played, or now we've moved, or I'd like you to try it this way, and you go that way. But really, like if we're going to get ready for set and off we're going, then it's, you get yourself in your head right, get present, and realize like, where am I sitting emotionally right this second? And where is the character sitting? Yeah. So what do I need to do to get to that character's level? So then I can physically be at that level that my character needs to be, or else it's going to be forced. And if it's forced, then it's fake, it's false. So, and people can tell. So, yeah, the analysis of like, you should have already done that. But for me, like I like to meditate, get present, get grounded, see where my body's at, do a bit of an internal reflection, and then be like, okay, I will, like if my character needs to feel a certain way, maybe I'll play a song that makes me feel that way. Or I will put myself in a circumstance of a memory of when I was feeling that way and what was going on, and just sit there, because the world and the mind is a very interesting thing, and time is very interesting, and I can put myself in something that happened to me when I was 23. or 18? Like, who was around me? What did it smell like? What were the sounds around here? What was the architecture? Who was near me? What were they saying? What were they smelling like? Like, did I sleep enough that night? Like, that character, what have you. There's different methods. But that's kind of what I like to go through to kind of bring those feelings forward. But as a lot of acting coaches will teach you, it's this really interesting challenge that I love about acting, because if I've played this feeling of something that happened to me and I've gone through it again and again and again, eventually you emotionally process it, and then you can't access that feeling in that way anymore. So now you have to find something else. But does that help answer the question? And, get present, meditate, just be ready, but be patient too, because film is a hurry up and wait game, right? So
you always have to be ready. You always have to be expecting, and you always have to be very, very, very passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah, I think in life, if you're not passionate about it, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? So for me, I'm like, I hit an age, I'm so old. Like 20, I think it was 21. I was like, I'm not having a career in something I don't enjoy. I'm not doing it. And I would work jobs that I had to work until I didn't have to do them anymore. And now I have
works you do want to do. You have jobs you do want to do. Yeah.
I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. I have worked hard. I help local businesses every day, all day. I get to tell stories with their knowledge and what they're up to, and I get to work with other artists and figure out what projects we're working on there. So yeah, I am very grateful. I am very abundant. I'm very blessed that I don't have to do that. But always being present, always being your best, always being on as best you can, because, all the world's a stage. And there's no dress rehearsals. There's so many people I'm quoting right now. But
that's incredible to just see, again, your application of all these methods to get into character, to do your best, to be ready, to be energetic about it. Is there some, one role that I imagine there was many, but is there one role that you applied to, didn't get? My question for a lot of actors is, how do you deal with rejection? Because it's a field where it happens a lot. So I've had actors on here tell me, you just gotta keep on moving on to the next role, to next audition, and have your mind on the goal that it will happen, So I want to know, how do you deal with that rejection as an actress?
Take nothing personally. If it's supposed to happen, it won't pass you by. So I really try not to hold on to I didn't get this role because I didn't do good enough, or I don't look this way, or it wasn't the right time. There's plenty of beautiful stories out there. So in terms of I've been acting for 8 years, and I've done tons and tons and tons, hundreds of auditions. And I've landed some Netflix shows, I've landed some movies, I've landed some short films, I've landed some commercials, I've landed music videos. Have I ever been full-time? No. Have I worked for some incredible businesses and some great stories? Yes. So it comes back to the why. And if you can make the audition process fun, if you are auditioning, you are working. So you are a working actor, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, if you, as it just keeps coming through, you roll with the punches, but you take the story that comes in front of you, and you study it, and you learn it, and you fall in love with that character, and you figure out how to make it happen, and then you do it. And that should be the purpose. The purpose should be, I'm here to tell you a great story. And you are also a business. So know that your brand, your worth is there. And if you don't see that, that's not my problem. I'm going to get another audition that comes in, and I hope it works out with your project and it will go well. I'm excited to see it when it's done, but it has nothing to do with me as a human. Perhaps I could have performed better. You know, some days are phenomenal. Some days your best is your best, and your best at that day might be what 75% of you could perform normally. Or it's at your 75% capacity, but that's the best that you have for that day. But know that if you make it interesting and captivating and you enjoyed it, that you'll probably get the casting director to bring you in again. And that means you've built a relationship, which means you've interested them enough. And when the time is right, you'll get that phone call.
Yeah.
So Mark Ruffalo, now don't quote me on this, but I've heard that Mark Ruffalo auditioned for like 12 years and he got nearly nothing. And then the Hulk, it just takes one. But he did that for 12 years. Could you imagine? I'm like, okay, well.
More than a decade.
Right? Let me see. So I've read, let me look at the experts. Let me look at the pros. Let me look at these people. And there's a ton of examples of people that have been doing this in many different art mediums for 10 plus years with barely any recognition. But how many hours does it take for someone to be a novice to an accomplice to an expert? At least 10,000. So knowing that I'm going to fail, get back up. I'm going to fail, get back up. I'm going to fail, get back up. And just keep trying and trying and trying. And so on the business side, when I am the market leader for South Calgary. So I am red deer down to the bottom of Calgary and Saskatchewan. So anyone that's a publicist and a digital marketing strategist to affluent communities, I oversee and consult with. And they're like, how do you manage rejection? I'm like, I cold call. They're like, I'm nothing personal. I cold call. And they're like, I'm so scared to cold call. Do you know what my cold call sounds like?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Victoria Givlin.
Nice to meet you, Victoria.
I moved here last year. I thought that the alcove looked really interesting.
It's good to hear.
How long have you had this spot? You learn about them and be interested in, I'm like, hey, I'm new to the city. I'd like to get to know you and learn more about you and how I might be able to help you. Could I grab a coffee with you?
Sure.
Or no, thank you. I'm too busy. Like, okay, call someone else. Like, it's not. Or, so you grow your business with cold calls, referrals, networking, and drop-ins. So cold calls, that's an example of what I just did. You could go to Google and find the business owner's name, and so that you have a little bit more information, but you start building a CRM system, right? You can do that with leads for production for films too, friends. Like, you can start calling businesses and start asking if they're interested in supporting local film. And if they say no, okay, call the next one. Like, and you'll have a name of who the admin was, what time you called, what they said, who the business owner is, and give them a call in 6 months. And who knows?
They'll change your mind, yeah.
Right? You never know.
Well, I think the game has changed a lot because of accessibility. And going back to all that talk about actors, artists, entrepreneurs, trying their hardest for 10 years, 20 years.
And then they take off and
then
they're an overnight success.
But it's because things are more accessible now. I mean, even let's take the music industry, for example. There's been these songs from Japan made during the 80s, during the 70s, 80s, that people really didn't pay much attention to them, internationally. But then YouTube comes out in the 2000s, gets big in the 2010s, and then suddenly some random person from Japan is putting these Japanese hits of the 80s, and people dig it, people like it. So now you've got songs like Plastic Love, for example, a song from Japan from the 1980s, just being plastered all around YouTube recommendations, to the extent that it's just a video of the album cover. And then even the photographer who took the picture of the woman on the album cover, Maria something, even he comments down on one of the videos, hey, I took that picture like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And it's one of the most viewed songs on YouTube now.
Yeah.
30 years after.
Well, I mean, history tends to repeat itself, right? But also, I love looking at the older generations, like the past, the history, the culture. There's so many things to learn from them that we can now integrate. And that's what I love seeing with what's coming is like what was old is now made new, but what was still back then is super cool. My grandmother did, she had two businesses. She had an online auction and she downsized houses, people from their estates to their homes or their condos, or the family passed away. And like the furniture, the style, the decor, the wardrobe, it's all fascinating in its own little universe.
Vintage is a new fad.
Well, like the 80s are coming around, the 90s will come. Like people will have 90s parties these days, or they'll dress up like the 60s for disco for like Halloween or something, like, or the 80s where everybody dresses up like a punk rocker. Like I don't know, call me corny, I don't care. I still think it's cool and it's fun and it's interesting to learn what they thought about at that time and how they viewed relationships and how they viewed work and what the social and economic circumstance was like for them and what they learned and what their challenges and tribulations were. And how, if you take a look, you know, there are a lot of lessons that happened 10, 20, 30, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago that are, there are some parallels to today that we can learn from.
That still apply.
Sure.
Yeah.
That still apply.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that a lot with classic novels, classic literature. I don't read a lot, but when I do read, it's classic literature because I take a lot of inspiration from it because I know it works, you know, the themes, the conflicts. The reason that they're still popular, that they're still around, these classic novels, is because throughout time, throughout these decades, throughout centuries, people have felt this way. And we go back to that discussion about generalizing that niche into something, an emotion that people can relate in their own personal way. So a lot of the best classic literature has that. Stuff like Pride and Prejudice, The Count of Monte Cristo, Dracula, super impactful Dracula. It was actually written on a journal format. So everything's written in like newspapers or journals. And that, what did that translate to? Well, that translated into, let's say, for example, in filmmaking, with a lot of found footage movies. So it's great to see just how these different things from different times still apply to today. And we see that again through trends coming back up, through literature still being around, through these stories, these conflicts still being told, but with different characters in different circumstances.
Yes. Yeah. There's so much to learn from the past cultures, and the more I know nothing. Like I love learning different mythologies and backgrounds and beliefs and cultures. And it's so cool, the stories that they tell. And humans have been doing that as long as we've been around, right? Like we're communicative. We'd be by the fire. We would talk about that. That would be our entertainment, right? Yeah. So now that we get to do it in video format, but take a look at what the other ones were doing and learn from it, and then add our own unique spin and teach our own lessons, and then look back at it. Like if you've looked at work that you've made before, you're like, oh, wow. Like, you know, there's always something to learn.
Do you feel, now let me ask you the invert of that question. Do you feel that sometimes we focus too much on the past trends? Like as a writer, as a director, as a producer, as an actress, the 2010s has been filled with 80s, 90s, more so 80s nostalgia, to the point where a lot of the popular shows, the popular songs, popular TV shows all have influences from that era.
I feel like we keep these parts of who we are, and we have so many different aspects to who we are as a human. But like your soul and the core of who you are won't, like your morality, your principles, your values, those things don't change. But yeah, like how you dressed 10 years ago is going to be different than now.
Yeah, Yeah, for
But I
sure.
still love a good 80s leather jacket, or I still, I think I've seen, I don't keep up with all the fashion trends. That's the thing, is if you're like, that's very 2010, I'd be like, I don't know. Like, I went on set and I went to the fashion. So I was on a feature this summer, and
Which
it's out
one?
on TikTok. So it's
It's out on TikTok.
it's out. So the production house was, yeah, they were involved with TikTok. So there's all these ads on TikTok. It's out now. It's called my secret boyfriend is my secret online boyfriend is a CEO. And I got to do this like rom-com PG-13 meets online dating world, and I was the supporting character. And she was so much fun. Her name was Debbie, and Debbie was the leading lady's best friend. So I got to play bestie, and I also got to play office. Poor Debbie's home life is terrible, and
What's her home life like? What's this character?
she has
what's
she has a
happening in this movie?
boyfriend, but like,
Yeah.
so in this movie, our leading lady has a boyfriend that she's been seeing online as an avatar for a year. And she really likes him and he really likes her, but they haven't met each other for a year. So the main character is going to a job interview for a fashion house. Think like, Chanel or Vogue, or like Suits, but for a fashion store. And so she goes in there for a job for being a fashion designer, and he mistakes her for a woman that he's a single guy. He's like a billionaire CEO. His mom wants him to get married and settle down. And he's like, I'm seeing someone online. I'm dating them. Like, I'm not going to do that. But she's like, it's not a real girlfriend. And so she's been sending him women. And he's like, this is annoying. Like, I don't want them. Go away. So what happens there when she arrives at the interview thinking it's for a job for a fashion designer, and he thinks she's another woman that his mom sent. But my character, Debbie, she's been working at that office for like 5 years. And so she knows them all and she's friends with them. But then the leading lady arrives, and I become her best friend. And I like tell her all the ways of the office and what's going on in the office, and the good, the bad, the ugly of the office,
The gossip of the
she
office.
is the gossip. They put two roles into one, and that was bestie and office gossip. So it was a very fun character to play.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
That combination of the two, certainly.
Oh yeah,
Certainly.
It was so much fun. It was awesome. So yeah, you can see it now if you search for it, but it's out.
What's it called?
It's My Secret Online Boyfriend is a CEO.
My Secret Online Boyfriend is a CEO.
Yep.
Out on TikTok.
It's on TikTok. It's on other movie streaming platforms. Like, if you Google it, you can find it underneath there. But if you watch TikTok, a few of my friends have sent me like the paid ads where it's from TikTok and it's a movie that's now it was really cool because it was filmed this way. Vertically, not horizontally. The whole movie was filmed vertically, and the challenges that come with that, it was so cool. But yeah, if you scroll through TikTok and you see TikTok and you see those like drama stories every so often, I've had some friends be like, I saw you.
That's you.
It was.
That's you. It's like that scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Leo DiCaprio. Yeah?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Ah! Yeah. It was super fun though.
We've talked about your acting,
Mm-hmm.
your directing,
Mm-hmm.
your athletic career.
Yep.
What about marketing? How does marketing fit in all this? We haven't gotten a chance to really, dive deep into, now you're working in marketing, you're working with your mother. How did that all start?
So my mother's story is very inspirational. It started with her. Well, my grandmother was an entrepreneur too. So my mother has an English degree from the University of Waterloo, and she was working in Kitchener, as you do in Kitchener-Waterloo. A lot of the population here works in oil and gas. A lot of the population in Kitchener-Waterloo works in insurance. So she worked in insurance and compliance, and she did not like her life. She made good money. She could pay for her kids. She could do what she wanted, but she wasn't happy. And she was walking. We had dogs. Dogs are an important part of our life. And she was walking our dog with our neighbor. And our neighbor had picked up this engraving machine. And she was also a full-time nurse. And she was like, this little side business that I've picked up is so busy, but I am a full-time nurse. So mom went, okay, I'll buy it from you. So she sold it to her, and mom bought it from her. And it was incredible to see her take this jump. And she bought the engraving machine, which is pretty, it's like this size really. So we started doing like trophies and plaques and medals and awards for sports organizations, weddings, trade shows, networking, awards ceremonies. And then she picked up a promotional company so we could do promotional branded items, hats, notebooks,
Nice.
flyers, mail outs, postcards, name tags, whatever you needed your brand on, hats, umbrellas, we could do it. And then, so my mom had been doing that. She did that for a total of 15 years before she sold the business. But like year 8 or year 9, my dad, my parents are high school sweethearts. My dad was working also in insurance at a competitive company. But he left the business as well and joined my mom. And they are very acute pairing of yin and yang to each other. She's extroverted, creative, problem solving, people person that wants to solve the things. And dad is more introverted, more reserved for sure, but he does like people. But he's accounting, coding, software, those types. So he started building websites for people, and he started making our processes better and the CRM smoother and faster and stuff like that, and did the accounting and the website design and our stuff. And I was 10 years old when mom bought the business. So I started doing fabrication with like medals and awards and trophies and stuff, or going to
When you were
sporting. 10? Yeah, like it's Saturday, the kids, the U12 kids or the U18 kids have a soccer tournament. They're picking the medals up in 2 hours, like gonna make it while I'm watching TV, you know? And so, yeah, dad did that and mom did that. And then I was doing fabrication, and then it started expanding to like graphic design. I would design hats and umbrellas and business cards and this and that. And then I went to post-secondary because I was like, I don't want to do fabrication. I don't want to do this. So I did post-secondary. And then I realized like the storytelling in the film, and also my mom's business needed some help to upload some e-commerce stuff. And I was like, oh, well, I can get paid to do that. I can do that. I can help. So I did. And then I saw when I got back the psychology of what my mother does and how she helps people grow what they love to do and how they get to do that and the different creative outlets that you can do to do that and how much fun that was. And I was like, oh, okay.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. This is cool. So yeah, I did that. And I also saw 8 years ago, we needed to go digital and my parents weren't there yet. So my dad was on the website side, but I was like, we need social media. We need to be content creating. We need to be storytelling. We need to be doing all this. So I started learning more about that. And the film industry kind of helped on that side too, with the video and production and content that you need to make for businesses. So it's this beautiful mesh. And so at the end of it, we could sell over 1 million products, from like Yeti mugs to like Columbia jackets to, you know, Vistech or whatever it was that you wanted. We could sell it and put your brand on it and give it to you. And our tagline was, "What don't we do?" So people would ask, like, could you? We'd be like, give us a second. And we'd think about it and we could figure out a way to do it. But during the pandemic, you know, they closed a lot of small business and we couldn't have people coming into the shop, even if we were like, we could do it if you had a 30-minute or an hour-long interval, like right now, and no one else was allowed in, like, can you pick up product? Can you do this and that? And for a while you couldn't. And the sports and the networking and the trade shows and the weddings and all that large people gathering stopped happening. And that was our main source of income.
Right.
So my grandfather ended up having a stroke the month that the pandemic landed. And it made us take a look at it was time for this chapter to end. So my grandparents moved to Penticton. They like partially retired out there. Grandma has since passed away this summer, but Grandpa's still here. And that family not being with us, we are so family oriented that it like that was my mom's. The 2020 December was Christmas without my grandparents, and I was upset, but my mother was devastated that her mom wasn't with her. So I had kind of lived in Ottawa without having them around for a bit, but yeah. So my mom and my dad decided that January, the next month, that they were moving out west. So they went to Penticton, took a look. They sold their business. They sold the marketing company. And again, they were like, what are you going to do now? Mom's like, I don't know. I'm going to help businesses grow, but I don't know. And dad had clients still because he could work remotely doing website design.
Right.
So he was doing that. And I went in a bit of a spiral because I was like, what am I going to do? Because I thought I was going to buy that business from her. And I thought I was going to take it over in like 10, 15 years. And so I had to take a step back, and then I started doing photography and videography full-time and storytelling in that medium, and social media content creation stuff and engagement and strategy for businesses. But I flew out here in November 2022. My mom found Best Version Media here, the marketing company, in like the end of 2021, and started working for them. And then, so she started working as a publisher and a digital marketing strategist. And when I flew out here of November 2022 to take a look and feel what West was like, one, I fell in love with it. Two, like big pieces of my heart were here. My parents, my little brother moved out here 6 months after, and my film mentor, Mike Migliera, moved out here in the mountains. I was just ready for something new. And yeah, I flew here and I saw Mom, and she was really frustrated because her publication deadline was here, and like it was the 11th hour, and it was not the right standard. The caliber was not there, and I couldn't have it, so I fixed it. I wrote the articles, I reworded all of the things that were in there in terms of the content that was in the publication, and she was like, "You're hired." And I was like, I didn't do this for work.
I did it to help you.
I did it to help you. But okay, you know, what does this look like? So I started as the author and the content coordinator for Aspen Woods. And then I took the publishing training and program. And by January 2023, I was a publisher, but there was a problem. I hadn't left Ontario yet. So I could work as a publisher. You can work as a publisher in Best Version Media in Toronto. There are publications there in Kitchener-Waterloo. I could if I wanted to, but I knew I didn't want to be in Ontario anymore. So for 6 weeks, I decided after flying out in November 2022, I stayed the holidays. I was in a relationship that wasn't good for me, and I stuck around and kept working. But I decided with my mother that the family day long weekend, February 2023, that she would fly down to Pearson Airport and I would pick her up in my car and we would drive up here. And so we did. And for 6 weeks, I did cold calling for her. I was like, hey, and I'm provinces away making appointments for her. And she would go to the appointments. But yeah, when I landed here, I hit the ground running. I started meeting with business owners and figuring out like, what are your pain points? What are your struggles? What communities are you serving? Who are you talking to? How are you talking to them? What's your budget? Do you know where your leads are coming from? Like these sorts of conversations. So Mom and I do that full time. I ask business owners about who they are, what they do, why they do what they do, how they help their ideal client, and then what their marketing campaign looks like and what they do. And if they're open to having that conversation to be introduced to affluent communities and build exclusive relationships with them, then I would love to talk to them and figure out what their budget is. And yeah, it's storytelling. It's learning about their stories. I get to learn about the community. So we do monthly publications, positive, family-friendly, feel-good news.
Yeah.
And we showcase a different family that lives here every single month. So I wrote the article with the Shijani family. They do I love Bridgerton, so I put at the top of this and was like, dearest gentle reader of Bear's Paw. So the magazines target the affluent in the city. So we are targeting people based on their residential home value. That's who we're targeting.
So basically dividing up the city into communities and then
Of affluence.
seeing
Yeah.
what community needs what based
Yes.
on the housing.
Yeah, so we have different experts in here. So I have only one bookkeeper, one accountant, one jeweler, one IT, one group benefits, one home renovation, one dentist, one luxury real estate realtor, one insurance broker. You get the
But that's
idea.
very, very smart because, I mean, imagine publishing a magazine downtown about landscaping, like backyard landscaping. Like who in downtown is going to need their backyard landscape? I'm sure there's plenty of people, but not as much as maybe down in the suburbs, you know?
Yeah.
Chaparral,
It's
Legacy.
knowing your audience for sure.
Exactly.
Because Bear's Paw, that community is different than my Altadore community, and both of them are affluent. But Altadore is more downtown. It's in Garrison Woods. It's around the military museum. They have backyards, but it is not the estates and the acreages that Bear's Paw has. Aspen Woods has a $12 million home for sale right now. That's different than the Altadore that has a $2 million home. You know, but it's still building a relationship with these people. On a business perspective, people buy from who you know, like, and trust. So that is the marketing side of things. So I get to meet business owners who love what they do and talk to them about, how can I help you? Who do you want me to introduce you to as a referral partner? Who's an easy, that makes sense. You're a financial advisor. Why aren't you talking to a realtor? Why aren't you talking to a mortgage broker? You probably are, but I probably know a couple you don't know. So let me introduce you and bridge the gap for you. But also, if you're investing in marketing, which if you're a legitimate business, you will, or is it a hobby? And if it's a hobby, that's fine. But if you want to compete and show up and dominate the market, you have to have a budget for it.
Yeah.
If you're ready for that budget, then let's talk, because this is the best thing I've found. But I want to be a brick on the wall that is your marketing strategy. You should have a videographer. You should have a radio person. You should have a Spotify person. You should have a podcast these days. You should see about TV commercials. You should see about being on billboards if you really want to do it old fashioned. Like, there are so many different ways. And I have channels that can do it that are the best in what they do, but I do not do everything. So I want to collaborate with other businesses, and they're like, oh, I have an ads person. Fantastic. They can't get it at 4 cents. I'm not telling them to not give them money. You need to give them money, but wouldn't you like your message to go 10 times farther with the same budget?
Exactly.
When you're not paying for my hourly rate, you're not paying for mom's knowledge, you're not paying for your graphic designer, your digital designer, all you're paying for to work with me is to run your campaign. But you literally get a fractional marketing team for free. So, yeah, I love the marketing side. And really, I see this beautiful, like, it's an ecosystem. It's a community. When I'm filming the men's mental health film, we should be having conversations with professional certified psychologists. And so we will. So I will introduce you to them because I happen to know them, and these are my friends. And aren't these people that own businesses, some of them are interested in the movie industry, and they want to see what it is to make a movie. And oh my gosh, I have friends here too, right? So yeah, I genuinely adore it. People are like, if you could change your life, I'm like, I'm living my dream already. The only thing I would do different, I don't think I would do anything different. But if it was like, what was the one, I'm like,
maybe a slight change.
A slight adjustment, like one adjustment, it would be like, I'm probably sitting and working 70% of the time in the marketing world and 30% in the film world. I'd probably just slightly tweak it to like 60-40 or 55-45. And each like,
I think that's possible.
But when I'm filming these things, right? Like when I go to film the feature film, then that marketing, and that's what I love about the marketing too, is I've built the relationship with you. We can do it remotely. I can run your campaign. I can get your message out appropriately to these people. If I'm on set, that doesn't mean I can't work for you. It just means that, you know, which deadline am I balancing? Which priority is most important right now? It's my deadline date for my 3 publications. So, you know, if someone was like, I need you on set, I'd be like, there's not a lot I could do today. But someone else could do that. What's the most important thing that I could do? Just balancing the priorities and what's important. And the marketing, those people are very important to me. It supports local business. It supports my family. It supports passionate artists about what they love to do. And I can see where their leads are coming from and their business growing every single day, all of the time. Makes me very happy. And same with artists, like getting to grow these stories and tell their tales, and just every single day, just 1% better, just a little bit more. What's this one objective that we're focusing on right now to make this better? And it works.
How do you balance that? How do you just, I want to know, how do you take the break from marketing and say, okay, I'm going into the set now, they've called me, and then you have to go back to marketing. How does that work?
So I read a book called Peak Performance,
Yeah.
and it was analyzing, Best Version Media recommended it, and they recommend good books. I love books. Tell me what your favorite book is. But Peak Performance is analyzing, in a SparkNotes version, high performers, athletes, musicians, artists, actors, scientists, business owners, CEOs, financial advisors, all of them, and goes, okay, well, you got the gold medal, phenomenal, that's great. But I don't want you to get burnout and then not be able to continue, and now your life is crashed and you're done. So how do you succeed? And I feel like we know this already, but the actual data behind it is really nice. But it's hyper-focusing my time and being super intentional about what it is that I'm doing and what is our goal and objective right now. We're on set. I'm filming the podcast. That's the most important thing right now. And everything else can be passed to the side and wait, and I will get back to it, and it will be okay. You know, unless it's like an urgent thing, and that's an emergency, and that's different. But yeah, but you also, from Peak Performance, it told you too, to avoid the burnout and be able to be productive over a long period of time, you need to fill your cup and live your life outside of work. So even though I love film and I love marketing, I still need to find these pockets of time where I'm resting and I'm relaxing and I'm getting inspired by hanging out with my friends, and I'm watching different TV shows and other artists and what they're doing and being inspired by them, or reading the Greek mythology books, or reading Dracula again, or whatever it is, like to fill my soul and fill my cup when you're feeling like you're tired, because we're not robots.
We need the break.
Rest. We need a break. Or eventually, I genuinely believe the universe speaks to you in whispers. I'm a very spiritual person, so I genuinely believe that the universe speaks to you in whispers, and if you're not listening, it gets louder until you can't ignore it anymore. And that was my car accident. And other things, like if you feel in your gut like you should be doing something and you're not, or like that there's another path that you should be in, and you ignore it and ignore it and ignore it, and eventually you won't be able to. There's been death in my family lately. And it puts different perspective. And I've been on the brink of death before too. And it just, like, life is so short and so fleeting and so beautiful and so complicated and messy that it's like, I want to tell stories that impact people to make their life a little bit different and make them want to improve it, make it just a little bit better. And I can do that with marketing, and I can do that with filmmaking too. I think it's the fact that I'm living in my purpose that I don't get exhausted. Like, am I tired? Sure. Like, my grandma used to ask me, like, how are you? I'm like, I am physically tired, sure, but I'm so content. I'm so satisfied. I'm so happy. My friends are so incredible. My peer group inspire me all day long. Like, so I can handle a little tired, you know?
Yeah.
It's okay. And then I rest when I need to rest.
I think that was a very, very well-spoken response.
Thank you.
I really, really like that.
I think it's so important. Like, health is wealth. Life is so important. And there's so many beautiful things to life, like financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, professionally, socially. And if any one of those really suck and you're in survival mode, then that really sucks. And I'm really sorry that you're there. But I hope you can find something, some light at the tunnel, some hope in yourself to believe that you can get over it and figure out the strategy and just keep failing until you figure it out and get out of it, and then start fixing it and be very intentional about the type of energy you want to have and you want to give to the world and what your purpose is. And if you can stand in your purpose and go to bed knowing that you did your best every day, I have no regrets. If I died today.
Have you ever thought about becoming an inspirational speaker?
So I've been asked to be brought into these speaking things for marketing. I did one 2 days ago about how to make effective ad campaigns and how to make actually drive leads and stuff. So I am being brought into different public speaking realms. And when I make stuff authentically from my heart, even on TikTok these days, which is kind of like that, I'm like, you should believe in yourself. You should know that you're worth it. You should know that you're enough just by existing. You should know that you're a beautiful human being. And if anybody doesn't agree with it, there are 8 billion people on the planet, and that's okay. Wish them well and go find someone else that will do it for you. Like, and people are like, how do you know all this? I'm like, there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain. But like, if you follow your flow and you follow your ease and you get curious about it, and you just go through the inner work of letting go of things that really don't serve you anymore and that are really, like, sometimes it's really hard to let go, don't get me wrong, but it's harder to hold on. And it's scary, but let go. So I saw my grandmother pass away this summer. And she said to me, she's like, you're gonna make it. And she kept saying, she's like, be brave. As this doctor is coming to take her life away. She's like, I have nothing more to give. I've lived a beautiful life. I love you so much. I got to record her last conversations. I have it as a private movie for my family now. Wow. It's called Grandma's Goodbye. And it's beautiful how powerful she was in letting me film that and like the advice that she had. But she just kept saying, like, follow your heart and be brave. Life's not easy. Cry when you need to cry. But, you know, just... you are worth it. You're more than enough. So hearing that from her, she's with me always. And if I can light up one person and make one person hearing this feel better about themselves and like to believe in themselves, then I've done enough. So, yeah.
That's a lot of speaking from the heart, I'd say.
I love leading with the heart. I really am leaning into going with how I feel these days more than, like, I know I'm intelligent, but like sitting in that, using your logic for sure, but what really excites you? What really gets you going? And for me, it's people, listening to their stories, helping them grow what they love to do, connecting them with the right people, making awesome memories, learning new things, failing. And like this year, I've been able to, like with my grandma and stuff, when we were producing the check engine film too, like that was all kind of going while it all got started. And each of us on the production team, there are 4 of us, and each of us navigated mental health issues at different times while we were putting this together. And the whole team was like, we're here for you. We love you. What do you need? But like, you do what you need to do and you take care of yourself. And this is what we're doing. And when you can come back in and give us a moment to help, great. But like, know that we're here to support you and we're just making this. And it was really awesome to see. So I hope that other people can be inspired to follow their heart and don't be afraid to fail.
What's the future looking for like for you right now? Like, what's the on the marketing side, what's the future of that?
Marketing side, we're going to keep growing. So we have some really exciting things that now I can see live real data every day, all the time, what people's leads are doing, what's going on, where they're coming from. So that's very exciting. So Mom and I are currently in the top few publishers in Canada. So that'll keep growing. That'll be awesome. I'll get to keep helping, meeting other business owners, connecting with them. I meet 3 to 5 every single day and learn how I can help them. So that'll keep happening. We'll keep growing. We'll keep adding new stuff and offerings for making businesses grow what they love to do. I've earned a work trip.
Nice.
So I'm going to Cabo in April. So I'm very excited for that. I went to Punta Cana this year, thanks to them too earlier. Traveling, I went to Toronto a few times this year for a friend's wedding and for work. Next year, I'd love to go to Vancouver. My cousin's got a spot there. He's an ER doc, so I can stay and come meet some Vancouver people because I would like to network with them.
Would it be your first time going to Vancouver?
I've been to Vancouver once, and there's a whole story there. I went with, long story short, I went with a photographer and videographer friend that I had worked with professionally for 2 years on it, like for probably 4 or 5 gigs total. And we had chatted about our life and stuff. But I was under the impression that we were going as friends.
Oh.
So, and I made that very clear. I thought I made it very clear before I went.
Is it too late to say this program is PG?
Oh, yeah. No, it is PG. No. I just, I didn't, when I landed, pretty much the hour that I landed, he confessed his love and wanted to take me back to Toronto and let me move and live with him and be my husband. And I was like, we've never talked about romance. We've never been romantic. We've never gone on dates. We've never. So it was very odd. And the day that I landed in Vancouver, I went to Vancouver to go see, to network and mingle with other artists and see some agents and stuff out there. But the day that I landed, they went on strike. So the universe was telling me not now, and then it gave me this really weird side quest that I was like, and I'm messaging my dad and my grandpa, and they're like, I will fly you back. I will drive down there. And I was like, it's okay, honestly. Like, I would go do day trips, and then at night I would just stay in my room by myself. But yeah, no, I'd really like to go to Vancouver and not have that and just get to explore. So.
And what about the acting side, the filmmaking side? What's the future
of that? Like? So Before I Go is in post-production, and we're going to do screenings and put it in the film festivals at the same time as Check Engine, the men's mental health film. They are ACTRA shorts, so we will go to the ACTRA Awards the second year. They did it a few weeks ago and I was there, but they'll do that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, our films might be in that. But if not, I'll still be there. And the horror film in Puza, we have $25,000 saved up for it. We are doing a micro budget, so I need $75,000 total. I need 50 more. Things are looking pretty good in terms of product placement and local sponsors and businesses. I am going to be a lead in that movie. Nice.
Which character?
So her name's Brittany. Brittany.
I thought it would be a more Greek name.
No, I know. I didn't. So this is not my script. But her name is Brittany. She is a history buff.
Yeah.
And she is one of the leads. And she's going to be a big reason to try to get that Impuza back into its box. That's her. Yeah. That's her main goal. Once it's started on its murder rampage, it's got to go back in somewhere else. So that is her main thing to overcome. And it'll be a lot of fun. I'm super psyched. Auditions are still coming in, so you never know with those. But I
could throw my hat in the ring.
Yes, you could throw your hat in the ring. If you know gigs that are casting for roles, I'm open to them and seeing what other filmmakers are doing. I'm gonna probably go back to a friend of mine as a director, and I've been his assistant director for a gig or two, but he's a beautiful human. He's a professor, 33 Visuals, Brandon.
Yes.
Yes.
We've had him on the show.
Yes, he's fantastic. So I've been going to SAIT and helping him like act for some of those films in there. So who knows what's next exactly down the pipe? I mean, I've got a class tomorrow for Apex Acting Studios with Chad Rook, Kevin Moriarty, and Jesus. So I'm going to go rehearse for class, and I'll perform tomorrow. That's the next acting thing, but we'll see. The universe provides. And yeah, Impuza's coming along. We're hoping to plan to shoot for February, March. We'll see. Let's make that happen. And as soon as we get the budget, we will be doing casting, because we have not finished the casting process. But as soon as we get the production money that we need, which we're getting there, we can go. We can get to locking in everything. I've got Gil is the executive producer in Edmonton. He's got a production house team that he wants to work with there. And he has movies in Amazon and distribution out there. So we will look to do that. But yeah.
And one last question that we like to end the show with. If you had one word to describe yourself, which one would it be?
Ooh, one. Only one. Collaborative.
Yeah, I can see that. You're going around, you're meeting businesses, you're meeting business owners, 3 of them once a day, 5 of them once a day. You're able to connect all of these people together. Like you said, the criminology major, the psychology, the actors, all of these people with the local business owners. You're amazing for doing that. I completely see that. And thank you so much for being here on the show today. Really, really one of our most well-spoken guests, honestly. Like hearing your story and just the different twists. You definitely have the makings of a storyteller for sure.
Thank you. Well, I deeply appreciate it. I believe that we all are creators and storytellers, and I genuinely live by building great communities, and we're the experts of what we do, so you can be the experts of what you do. There's beauty when we lean on each other and we support, and I don't want to be all things to all people. I love seeing people do what they love to do and helping them do that. So thank you for having me. Thank you for being here, for listening, for your attention, for your efforts, for filming, for having me as a guest. I deeply appreciate it. It is so much fun. I enjoyed every minute of it, and that you would like to listen to my little world. That means a lot. It's very sweet of you. And I'm just very humbled to be here. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Victoria. And thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you later on the next episode of Authentically Albertan. Stay authentic.
Yes.